Hello again, quick mini film on playing around with one of these. This is a Voigtlander Bessa, commonly known as a Bessa 66 or as a baby Bessa. It's a folder, dates from 1938. I've done a video on this before, but I had somebody called Alexander get in touch with me. He's come across one of these through the family and he'd like to shoot a roll of film through it, so he just asked me for a bit of advice on how to get started. Not a photographer, no experience, no knowledge, interested in film. That's fair enough. First thing you need to do is get hold of a film. You need to find a shop. If you live in a major city, that's quite easy to find a shop that sells film and also does the development. Film photography, unlike digital, isn't free. You have to buy the film, $10 to $15, and you have to pay for the processing, and probably about the same again. And you want it to be scanned rather than giving you prints. So this is a 120 film when it's developed, because this camera takes 120 film, it's a medium format, and this is what you'll get back. Colour ones look slightly different, they're a lot more orange. You don't really need the prints because you want them to scan it onto a CD or drop the scans into a web service or a cloud service like Dropbox or something where you can pick the images up. But yeah, there's a cost. Buy the film, buy the process. So first of all, you need to find somewhere to get your film and somewhere to get it processed, no matter what country you're in. Like I say, in a major city it's quite easy, but if you live in the countryside, mail order will be your best means of doing so. So the first thing you need to do is put a fresh film in the camera, and the way you do that on these, if I can get the focus a bit better, there's this catch. You move it out of the way, you can see it's got a little tooth that sits in there. Push on the catch at the top and at the bottom, and then the whole back will open up like so. Now, unlike a lot of cameras, this one, the film goes that way. So your fresh film is going to go in here, and it's going to be going onto a take-up spool here. Normally in a camera there should be one of these empty spools, and probably be on that side. You just need to move it over to this side. So we pull up on there, and twist, that gets that out of the way. These are quite clever, they've got this little sort of lift up section, which is quite a neat thing. You don't see that on many cameras. And then this film spool will just sit in there and drop in. By turning this again, it will drop down and you'll see that it will engage. You can turn it, and that's how you're going to advance the film through the camera. So you take your brand new roll of film that you just bought, make sure you keep it tight, and that's going to go into this side. So this again folds out like so. Hard to see because everything's black. Slot the film in, it sits back in like that. This part, the leader, just pull it across. You can see it says unexposed. When it gets to the end of the film, it will say exposed on it. And then you stick this into the slot in here. This will only turn one way. There's no rewinding with 120 film, it just goes through the camera from one side to the other. So just wind this around until it picks the leader up and starts collecting it, which mine hasn't. This bit can be a little bit fiddly. You won't believe I've been doing this stuff like 40 odd years and I still struggle to load films and batteries. Old age for you. Use your faculties. So hopefully that will pull it this time, and you'll see it'll start to pull the film across like so. I just like to wind it until the arrow's sort of around about there, because this camera doesn't have a frame counter. The only way you know what number exposure you're on is from this window in the back that points to numbers that are printed on the back of the paper. If I wind this on a little bit, you will see. Don't do this with the film in, obviously, because you're going to fog the film. If you wind it on, you'll see that the backing paper has, first of all, arrows, and then it has a series of numbers. There's number 1 there. So this is in the middle, so we're going from the middle row of numbers. This camera shoots 12 6 by 6 centimeters or 2 1/4 square images. You get 12 pictures out of your $12 roll of film. So yeah, it's $1 a shot really, plus the processing. So before you get to that stage, you would have closed the back Never force anything on old cameras, there's a risk of doing damage. And this back is a little bit fussy to get it to close properly. You've got to get it to line up, which is a lot easier said than done. There you go, and you hear the click. So that's the film loaded. On the back there's this little window with an X in it. You can switch this black lever here to expose the paper, and then you can just wind until you get the number in line with the window. So I may have gone past number 1. No, there's number 1 now. So you've got a number 1 showing through the window there. If I can get this to focus on it. There you go, you can see the number 1 in the window. Once you've wound it to number 1, you can then close the little window again. So you get this little X there that just blocks that window out from fogging the film possibly. Okay, that advances your film. Got that bit sorted out, got fresh film in the camera. To see what you're going to photograph, this just flips up. It's just a little device on the top, you just flip it up like so, and you put your eye up to there and you look through, and that's how you compose. So what's within that frame is going to be in your picture, roughly. But fairly accurate, accurate enough, accurate for 1938. That folds away when not in use. To actually get the camera out, because it's a folder, put a finger on there, push this button in here, and you'll see that it will try to spring out. Don't let it spring out on its own, that risks damaging the mechanism. And just pull it so that it's level and so that these are locked. So you'll find that they're locked. It won't move, and you can see to close it there's a thing there where you can just push up on either side and then it will fold away again. But yeah, you want it out so that it's locked. Right, we've got our film. What do we have to do now? Let me zoom these in a bit. Zoom in out. I need to move the camera down a little bit. And we need to try and sort our focus out so we can see some numbers. I'm recommending that you start with a negative film. It has a lot more what we call latitude, so it's a lot less fussy about how well it's exposed. And exposure is a term relating to the amount of light that we allow to get to the film. It applies to digital, it applies to mobile phone cameras, everything. All cameras work the same. There's not really been that much development in terms of cameras, to be fair. In the last 100 years they all seem to work pretty much the same basis. So this dial here with the red dot next to it is your shutter speed, and in this case we're going to set this to the highest value that we can. The Sunny 16 rule, which is a rule that you really need to learn as a beginner, is that you set your speed for your shutter to the same as the ISO of your film. So in this case this is HP5, and this is it in the box. This is how it comes new, and I'll get the focus on it. So when you buy your film, check the expiry date, July 2022, so this is quite a fresh film, and it will also show you the ISO. It says ISO 400, and the 27 is the German DIN, which is still around, but it's not normally used. We'll talk about ISO nowadays. So ideally we'd have a shutter speed of 400, but this camera doesn't go up to 400, it only goes up to 175, so we're just going to leave it on 175. Not going to worry about it. And then you've got another lever at the back here, and this controls the size of the hole inside of the lens. Like your eye, bright sunlight, your eye closes up. In dark light, your pupil opens up that way to let in more light. Exactly the same in a camera. It's just a section of leaves that sort of move to make the hole bigger or smaller. And the size of that hole is denoted by these numbers here. Again, universally used, 1611. Same value from camera to camera, no matter how old it is or how new it is, whether it's digital or film. So Sunny 16 says you set that to 16, and that is midday bright sunlight, the brightest the sun can get. You shoot at f16, these are called f-stops. You shoot at 16, and you shoot with the shutter speed at the same speed as the film that you're using. But what we're going to do today is we're going to set that at f8, and the reason we're doing that is because of focus. This camera has no means of focus assist or anything like that. It doesn't autofocus, there's no batteries, it's completely mechanical. So if we look at the lens, on this lens here, it's quite hard to see, there is a foot scale. So basically you have to guess the distance to your subject and then set it on this gauge. Actually it refers to here. I can get this to focus a bit better. You might be able to see. There we go. So as you turn this, there are numbers. So you can see that's like 3.5. This is in feet, 4, 4.5, 5, etc. But there are two marks that are of interest on here. There's infinity. So infinity is as far as it can look. But yeah, there are two interesting marks on here. They're very, very faint. They're very hard to see. You might have to get the old macro lens out on this. You'll see here that there's a diamond right next to my finger. I don't know whether you can actually see it or not. See what the minimum focus distance of this lens is. Probably not enough. No, that's about it. Get my hand out of the way maybe. But there's a little diamond there. If you set it to the diamond, you'll find that everything will be in focus from 16 feet to infinity. So for general taking of pictures, set it on the diamond and don't worry about it. If you want to shoot something closer, there's also a little circle on this gauge. If you can find the little circle, which I can't see it now, the circle is everything from 8 to 16 feet. And that is going to be, where is it? Yeah, that's the diamond there, and there's a little circle normally. The dial on this one is really, really faint. It's hard to see it, but I'd say it's got to be somewhere around about there that you can set it. Oh, there's the circle. Sorry, the circle is excuse me, the circle is right up there, and the circle, if you set that to the reference, I got it the wrong way around, if you set the circle to the reference point, everything between 16 feet and infinity will be in focus. If you set it to the diamond down here, everything between 8 feet and 16 feet will be in focus. So using those two focus points, you can take images between 8 feet and 16 feet and 16 feet in infinity. Just leave it at that for the moment, and that will get you started on your first roll of film. To cock the shutter, there's a lever up here, just move it across like so, and then to trigger your shutter, if it's got one of these moment lenses on it, just filters, just move it out of the way. That will block half the amount of light going in, and you don't want that to be happening. So if it's still got that attached, just flip it out of the way. And then to fire the shutter, there's a lever on the bottom. Just push it across. Very quiet shutters. These cameras are not interconnected, so you can do double exposures, you can do multiple exposures. If I cock the shutter again without moving the film forward, I can take another picture, so you need to be careful against accidentally taking all the pictures on one frame if you forget to wind on. So once you've taken your picture, you then have to go back to this key, open this little window up. It's costing you $1 a picture, and you're going to be a bit more careful about what you shoot. Not like digital, you can't delete it. Once it's on the film, that's it. And then you just wind this on until you get the number 2 in the window, like so, and then you can take your next picture. And you do that for 12 pictures until you get to the end. Once you get to the end, you just keep winding. And what you're listening for is for it coming off of the spool on this side. So if I shut up, I've got to wind all the way through the film now, because we haven't actually taken the photographs, because this film's useless, it's just no good, it's a test film. So you're quite happy taking all your pictures. Once you've got past number 12, and we're on what number we're on now. I think we're past it. There you go, you heard the click. That means the film's come off of this one over here. Wind it a few more times. I can put this bit away to protect it. Make sure the shutter's not cocked, which it was. Don't leave a shutter cocked because it's a clockwork mechanism. Open the back up, remember slide that out of the way. These two catches, one top and one bottom. The back opens up, there you can see, well, it didn't come off the reel, but we're far enough along that it doesn't matter. Keep winding, and then yeah, you will hear that noise of it coming off. And then pull this up, twist, it should stay up on its own, and then you can just take out this film, holding it tightly. There will be a sticky tab on here that you can just lick and stick this down to keep it light tight, just to make sure it's nice and tight. And then you give this to the developer, and yeah, you'll get within however long it takes them to develop and scan the images. They'll either send it to you or it will be available online depending on how they're working, and that's how you're going to shoot your first film in this lovely old Bessa 66. Two versions of this camera available. This is the standard version. There is a deluxe version as well, which is a little bit more high tech. It has a proper viewfinder and a proper frame canter. I don't have one of those, I only have the basic Bessa 66. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that helps. Any problems, give me a shout either in the comments or at my email, thephotographersbag@gmail.com. Always here to answer questions and queries, anything to encourage young people to take up film photography. If there's other cameras you'd like to see, if I've got them, I'll quite gladly demonstrate how to use them for the first roll of film. It can be quite nerve-wracking. Treat it as an experience. It's a bit like going to the cinema or going to a sports game or something. You might end up with nothing out of it, but you've had the experience. It might encourage you to shoot film on a more permanent basis. It might put you off film completely. But at least once in your life, give it a go. Shoot a film camera. Ask around the family. Most families have still got film cameras kicking around in cupboards that haven't been used. And yeah, it's fun. I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Comments, questions, queries as usual down below. A like and a subscription is always appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.